Looking for something family oriented and fun to do this summer? Today on City Chat. Columbus Museum of Art is offering free youth and Columbus City Schools family admission this summer through their new WonderPass program. And today we have CMA's Executive Deputy Director of Learning and Experience, Cindy Foley, here to chat about the program. Hi, Cindy. Thank you so much for coming onto the show today. We're really excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
So we are going to be talking about the WonderPass program. Could you just go ahead and let us know what this program is about?
Yeah, the WonderPass initiative is actually two parts. One part is resources, and quarterly throughout the entire year, we're going to be creating resources for intergenerational learners to experience the museum and using the strategies that we love to employ, but making them far more accessible to families. The other side of WonderPass is pretty exciting, and it is that for this summer, youth and especially those families, the Columbus City School families, the kids and their caregivers can come to the museum for free. And this is all because Battelle has given us an incredibly generous grant to support that this summer.
That's awesome. Why would you say that this initiative is so important in this specific climate and right now?
Yeah. I think a lot of folks have been talking about learning loss specifically, and what that means. Have we lost gains in reading or math? But at the Columbus Museum of Art, one of the things we've been talking a lot about is that in some ways, it's the other kinds of losses that may be more challenging to us as a society. And in particular, in a time where kids were kept inside, were not allowed to explore, weren't allowed to play, we're seeing losses in creativity. And our nation had already started to see losses around creativity, meaning the imagination, our ability to critically think, our ability to play, were already on the decline. So we see this as a critical moment for the museum to step in and kind of fill a void and allow as many folks to come to the museum. We're especially interested in the way wonder can kickstart creativity and imagination. And we love to think of the Columbus Museum of Art as almost like a wonder factory. It's a place where you can step in and your eyes are open to new ideas and new possibilities.
That's so cool. What can visitors, when they come into the museum this summer, what can they expect and what can they expect to encounter and take advantage of with this WonderPass?
Well, I would say there's a couple spots you just can't miss if you're a family, an intergenerational family coming to visit the museum this summer. And there is something for everyone, but the first stop might have to be Lego. Yearly, we do an incredible Lego exhibit with Central Ohio Master Builders. And yes, Central Ohio has some of the most extraordinary master builders around. And they fill a gallery with not only real buildings that you will recognize, Columbus buildings, but also imaginary worlds, underwater worlds. This year, they created a putt-putt golf course that is fantasy over the top. Wow. And so you're going to have to stop and see that. And what that does is then it allows you in the spaces around the exhibit to create your own minifig. You'll be able to draw your own minifig, a character, and those are what we call here at the museum connectors. They're prompts or activities or art making that happens in and around the spaces that allow you to use the same kind of thinking skills that the artists use. But that's just one spot. The other spot, or a couple spots you'll want to see, is you must go to the Wonder Room, which is our experimental gallery, also in the Center for Creativity. And in that space, you'll walk into this incredible fort-like structure, and there will be multiple places for you to play and engage and make like the artists do themselves. One area is really fun where you get to make bugs out of tinfoil and strange materials. But probably the most critical, I think, experience for anyone this summer, and I'm talking young to old, is Amina Robinson's exhibition, Amina Brenda Lynn Robinson. And of course, as you know, Amina is kind of our hometown hero. She left her estate to the Columbus Museum of Art. And this is the first time we've been able to put a whole bunch of new work and actually wonderful little experiences from her home on display. So you'll see the range of Amina's work. And that special exhibition is free also to our Columbus City School partners and youth this summer.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Everything that you just talked about, you have me really excited to come and visit. It does go into my next question about your guys' relationship. So the WonderPass allows youth and then also Columbus City Schools, like affiliated teachers and students.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. And what's the connection with Columbus Museum of Art and Columbus City Schools?
Well, and I just want to emphasize that teachers need this wonder, because what wonder, curiosity, and questioning, and it's kind of like a trifecta of things that happen to you when you're in a museum space. You first maybe have a wondrous experience, and then you become really curious about that, and it leads to all this questioning. But what the manifestation of that can be is joy. And we've been working with Columbus City Schools for a long time. And I can tell you, not only those teachers, but teachers across the city, they need to breathe again.
Yeah.
They need some joy. They need uplift. They need their imaginations to be able to radically imagine what life can be on the other side of the very difficult year we've had. So it's really important that this was also for the administrators, the staff, and the teachers of Columbus City Schools. But our relationship with them is over 50 years old. We've been partners with them on a program called Artful Adventures. And we truly love the ways in which we've engaged with them around thinking for decades. And in particular, how do we develop critical thinking skills, working with the art teachers in the elementary level to use thinking routines and come to the museum and analyze and make sense of art, but then also use our imaginations to then make things that cultivate our interests in the world as well. So, but the fabulous part of that is we get to spend a lot of time with the educators at Columbus City Schools.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they really appreciate the relationship they have with you guys. That's really cool to hear. So you talked a little bit about how Patel gave you guys a generous grant. How do you want to talk a little bit about how else this was able to become available to the community, and maybe just talk about some of the inspiration of where that was coming from?
Sure. I first should mention that Battelle is an incredible, not only funder in this community, but think tank. And the particular grant that we received is their STEM grant. And I think for a lot of folks, they don't realize how Battelle defines STEM. And while a lot of folks think STEM and they think science, technology, mathematics, and engineering, Battelle has really verbalized and articulated that STEM is more to them. It's actually strategies that engage minds.
Interesting.
And they see that what we need in order for us to have the future scientists, for us to have the future engineers, mathematicians, artists, thinkers, right? We first have to find ways to engage the mind. We've got to get out of passive delivery of content that was what I think a lot of testing culture has done in schools. And we've got to find a way to engage thinking. The museum has really picked up the goal of trying to be the catalyst for creative thinking, and generating those imaginative and creative thinking skills. So we started working on that, and in 2011 we opened the Center for Creativity, which was a really different approach for an art museum. It's actually an 18,000 square foot space in our building, but it was a philosophical shift around how we work and engage, and our goal is to have an impact on the way people think, the creative way people think in our community.
That's really neat to hear. Is there anything that you would like to add for the community and the public to hear?
So while I'll say that this summer, it's fabulous that we've gotten the funding because it's been a very, very difficult year for the museum. And you can imagine a lot of arts and cultural organizations have been shut. We've seen losses of revenue, and that to be able to support our community in this way through the grants so that we can actually open the doors more and provide more access has been huge. But I also want to encourage folks who can come out to the museums, who've gotten your vaccines, that this is a moment to kind of rally behind your cultural organizations and remember why we are here to kind of build community, build creative thinking, and be a part of the fabric of this Central Ohio community.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Cindy. Everything that you described sounds like really wonderful, and I'm excited to check it out this summer. And thank you again for everything that your organization does.
Thank you, Josie.
I'm Josie Smith. Thanks for watching City Chat on CTV.